We continue our reading of Lest We Forget, a daily devotional by author George R. Knight. Today's reading, May 25, Sister Betsy. Each man should give what he has decided in his heart to give, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. 2 Corinthians 9:7. In February 1859, James White gladly announced the results of the committee that had been studying how to finance the work of the church. He presented a concept known as systematic benevolence, which would provide a way for every member to give regularly to sustain the church. Quite convinced that the plan was from God, White emphasized 1 Corinthians 16:2, justify a weekly offerings and texts such as 2 Corinthians 9:5-7, which set forth the principles of reaping as we sow and the fact that God loves a cheerful giver. White not only announced the new plan of systematic benevolence, but he set forth guidelines. Males 18 to 60 years should give from 5 to 25 cents weekly, while females in the same age group should donate 2 through 10 cents, and both groups should add 1 through 5 cents more for every $100 worth of property they owned. Following the example of 1 Corinthians 16:2, the systematic benevolence funds were collected on Sunday morning when treasurers visited each member's home with their offerings, containers, and systematic benevolence record book in hand. Such a process, as you might guess, did not meet with exuberant enthusiasm from all. Yet James White, 2 years later, put an encouraging face on the situation when he wrote that all expect the treasurer, and all get ready for him and meet him with open hands and benevolent feelings. No one, he penned, feels poorer, but all feel happier after casting their small sums into the treasury. But what to do with the funds became an issue. White at first suggested that each congregation could dispose of it as it saw fit. Later, he proposed that each church keep at least $5 on hand to assist visiting preachers and then send the rest to Michigan tent evangelism. Systematic benevolence, or what many later thought of as Sister Betsy, was a step forward, but it fell far short of the needs of the church. And beyond that, the Sabbatarians in 1859 still lacked any systematic way to utilize the funds or to pay ministers. Most of us today are thankful that the church treasurer does not show up on our porch every Sunday morning with record book in hand. God has led us to a better way that is less intrusive and more adequate to fund His church. This concludes our reading today of Lest We Forget.